So I was looking at your bio and I saw that you're a trusted user, right?
Oh boy. Uh-huh.
So uh, I'm assuming that means you spend a lot of time in the game. So one of the things I'm interested in talking to people about right now is I'm trying to find people who are in, from what I've heard, they're called like VRChat families.
Okay. What about it?
Well, so I don't really know a lot about them. And so I'm just trying to I
Mm-hmm.
just genuinely have conversations with people about like what they are and like how like why are you part of it, like stuff like that. So I'm assuming because you don't have anything in your bio about being in a VR chat family, you probably aren't. But like, I would like your perspective on where do I find people who are in like VR chat families and like can talk to them about it.
Well, fun thing is I do have one VR kid. Me and my ex picked up one of our equal community members and kind of just started looking after him and protecting him and shit, and it just kind of became this thing. Uh we kind of guard him from his poor choices, teach him proper ways of actual life because his parents never did. Clearly, they didn't give a fuck about him either because his dad's an abusive asshole. So I just kind of, I don't know. It's just somebody that you care about to the point where you want to protect them, but it's not in a romantic way. It's more like a sibling or a kid.
So like, I guess in that dynamic, you would be his like VR chat dad or whatever. So, but what is
Yeah.
that like? How does that relationship work?
Um, he usually vents to me about his relationships and stuff. I give him advice. He hangs around. Sometimes he goes to his mother, even though him and his VR mother don't talk anymore because she's an asshole and decided to dox me. But it was kind of like a joke at first, and then like he started going through some shit with his family and stuff, and I was there for him and got like kind of emotional for him because he was like, "Thank you for being here." He kind of looks up to me, kind of like a mentor rather than a VR dad.
Like how like VR chat families? Like what do you mean?
Yeah, like some people have like this is my VRC kid, this is my VRC dad type shit. Have you do you know anything about
Oh,
that?
okay. Yeah, so it's like so it's like playing pretend basically. So it's like I forgot what they're called. They're called uh there's a name for it, but I forgot what it was. But it's like people say these things. God, I think it's called a DID or something like that. And they be like they say, "Oh, this is my VR son." You know, they're not actually their son. They're like only their son in VR chat. Like they're friends, but you know, in VR chat, this is their kid.
VRChat Families, yeah, it's people that adopt people in this game.
Are you a part of a VR chat family?
I do have two VR sons.
I guess just in general, like what is a VR chat family? Like how does it work?
Uh, I'm not really like into it completely. I just have two sons that I look after, like in real life too. Um, Everyone else in this game, I have over almost probably like close to 5,000 hours in this game. I stopped playing it as much as I used to because people in this game are, in my opinion, weird. I'm not gonna lie, they're kind of weird, but
They're weird
I'm
because
not into
they
that
dig up
whole.
the poopy hole, and that's why they're
Shut up,
weird.
shut up. No, but people, I guess, see VR families better as their real life families because you never know what someone's going through, you know. So
I know about it. I just don't participate in it.
So you've never been like a part of a VR chat family or anything like that?
Hell no.
why is that something that like it's like if you could give me like a perspective, like what is it? Like what are VRChat families?
I mean, honestly, I would say that like VR families are for people that don't have families of their own, like in real life. And I guess they're looking for like a sense of community, which I can respect, but I still think that it's kind of cringy.
All right. So whenever it comes to the whole families thing, I can give insight into what I know because I do know quite a bit about it because I have a lot of friends who have these families on VR and I'm able to give some insight and like my thoughts on it if you want that. It is not because I honestly find that shit to be a little bit odd because the whole because I understand that people do want to have a connection to different people because maybe their family wasn't very nice to them or they weren't particularly good and they abused them. But I feel like finding that on here is not a good solution to being able to have a connection to a proper family. I think that people should do that in real life and not just have it happen in VR. Because they're like the family you choose is better, but honestly, finding that family on here is not good because there's a lot of very odd people who all have various or extreme amounts of mental illness, and that can lead to a lot of issues down the road.
Why do you think that people in this environment seek out like an alternative version of a family in VR chat? You know,
I would say that a lot of them do it because okay, a lot of them do it because they come from broken families or they're orphans or their parents are maybe divorced. There's a lot of really broken people on here that need help, and they come from broken families. So they come on here to escape reality and find people who they believe could be part of an online family. Which I wouldn't say, like, that's not a bad thing. Do it. Do it if you want to, but like, I wouldn't say it's a good idea.
Pretty much, it's like a replica of like what you would think a family would be like out of your chat, but just in a video game at that point. It's pretty much what you think it is, and it's literally in the name. It's just a bunch of people who were like, I want a child, or I wanna make my boyfriend or girlfriend into like a mother or father figure for people. And then sometimes it's related to friends in it. Sometimes it matters to the one you go into, though.
I would say that it's the definition can vary from person to person. I would say it's a collection of people that hold similar values that just like hanging out with each other. At least that's how I've always treated VR families. Where I want to get into a bit of a philosophical debate about this. It entirely. You've ever heard the Japanese word nakama?
I'm not familiar with it. No.
So the Japanese word nakama is a very interesting word. When translated into like dubbed anime and stuff, it's normally translated as friend or comrade, depending on the context. But its literal meaning is more like a friend that you treat like family. And so, like my VR chat family in Himu Habas's community, I treat them like nakama. Where like they're friends that I would treat like family. If they needed support, I would be there. But it's a very big family, so I'm not necessarily close to everyone because part of being a part of that family is Himu is a content creator. She streams, she creates YouTube videos. So I mostly play a character when I'm in that role, and it's the only really. And I do light RP. Like I put on a deep voice. I get in my bunny avatar, and I play a character. And I'm not. And each of us in the family, plays that character differently. Some people are just themselves. It just depends on how you want to handle it. but we all call each other brother and sister. And we have like an entire hierarchy of who's the oldest, which right now that's me. Bruh.
Wait, so do you guys have like a
Um,
VR chat like dad and mom though? Or is
So
it just brother and
hilarious.
sister?
So part of the joke is some of us have a dad. Like Himu is our universal mother in the family, but some of us have different dads. And the joke is because she's a bunny, she had too many children. But like, she's not like really promiscuous. That's like That's like most of the joke.
Okay,
Like,
so
but
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
like in my particular case, I do not have a father because of how I wrote my lore. But that's just my case. Most of them in the Nekobun family have a father, whereas Himu is the universal mother.
So you kind of like are using it as an RP, using RP as a mechanic to like basically give extra spice to like your like how your friendships work or something. Is that how that works? I don't really know. I don't
It's
know.
more like
I don't know how to phrase that.
we use it during her like when she's live on stream. Like we ham it up and play a character.
But but when you're not playing a character, right? Like, what is like? How does the VR chat family work with you?
Normally, like at least in my particular family, we just hang out, play games, relax, like because a lot of us have full-time jobs outside of VR chat, and we're looking for a place to chill after work, but we don't necessarily have the energy or the geographical location to go out and just hang out with people normally. And also, like, there's a lot of people in this game that have disabilities, and this gives them the ability to socialize without having to leave their home, which sometimes can be very difficult.
Honestly, I can't really define others' VRChat families, but I can define my own. That's the best I can really give you.
Yeah. So I mean,
If
how
that's
would
fine with you.
yeah, that's fine. How would you define your VR chat family?
So how mine is based off of is because like I'm a lot of these people's dads in a way because they view me as a father figure. And that's pretty much how it goes because they think of me as a parental figure, even though I don't do much. I help out here and there, making sure that they're all right. Getting some food in their system, getting some water at least.
You know what? I really have no idea. I think it's just people who just got bored decided, like, let's just make a family and everything. I mean, I find them all right personally. Like, it's not really something that I go around saying all the time. But I think they're all right. I think they're pretty cool. Now I think there's some people that do VR families that go like too much. You know what I mean?
I heard a lot of people like put them in like their bios and stuff. I haven't seen that personally, but I've heard that that's a thing.
If you check Sears' bio, he has it in his bio. I personally I don't have it in my bio because because I'm the type of person that I like to have people know specific stuff about me through VR and then away from my personal life.
Cool. I'm gonna go sub to you next time I see you.
I've
never seen
I
you.
appreciate that, man. Yeah, I mean,
Oh, I did watch this. Are you happy? Not gonna lie, Are You Happy is kind of a pointless video, but like the other ones are good.
I think that one of the things that I found the most valuable about those conversations is understanding people's perspective on happiness and like obviously like did it help me find happiness in my life? Probably not. But the thing is,
But that's why
like we're all humans who are living the human experience, and so it's something
Glass
that
attempting to troll me in VR chat and failed miserably. Look at all this shit you have. Holy shit, you're so
I've been making YouTube videos for like 4 years, dude. I have so much shit.
Oh my god, and you only have that much?
You know, the thing is, I never did it because I expected to make a shitload of money or have a shitload of like notoriety. I do it because I wanted to get better at video editing.
Are you sure it's not because you expected them to pass the duchy on the left-hand side?
I'm not sure what that phrase means.
You wanted them to pass the duchy on the left-hand side?
I don't know what that means, man.
You need to look it up.
Okay, I will. All right.
Bro, come here. I wanna talk to you. You're so cool. You're so valuable.
Well, so what I'm doing right now is specifically searching for people who are in VRChat families or have
Oh, you're searching. So you're searching for me?
Are you in a VRChat family?
Yeah. Well, on my main account, it's complicated. I basically have VR children who I consider VR children. They consider me their father figure, you know?
I guess let's just get into it. So in a broad generalization, what is a VRChat family?
It's literally what it says. Just a relationship, like family in VR chat. That's literally what it is.
So, you mentioned that you have like some VRChat family relationships. So I guess like to kind of if you could
I
try
did.
or do you currently have like a VRChat family?
I did, bro. I used to have a boyfriend.
But you also mentioned that you had like some
I'm
VRChat
not.
kids and stuff, right?
Oh yeah, we had his friends mainly as friends were considered our children.
So why did you like create like a VRChat family?
To be honest, it wasn't my idea. Uh, when I met him, I was literally 2 days. Like I was so new to VR chat. This was like September 2nd, 2024, when I was new, and me and him got together the second day I played VR chat.
They asked me when I first found out about it. I was somewhat confused, but it's like one of those things that are like, all right, then that's how it probably works then. So pretty much because I have a total of 4, and they pretty much asked me to be their VR chat dad.
Why am I a VR family? Well, truth was, as a kid, like when I was from when I was born to the age of 10, I was always beat as a child by biological parents. And I guess in a way, because losing them, going through everything I went in my life, it just kind of makes me have a little bit of that security that I have a family. If that makes any sense at all.
No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
So I mean, of course, I call them by their names. I don't go walking over to them and call them dad and stuff. Yeah, I say it once every once in a while as a joke, but it's not something I sit there and like I said, I think they're all right personally, but
So I'm not anymore, but I was before. I've been playing since like March of last year. And it happened in I think April of that year. Um, I was just browsing, trying new things, experimenting like all people usually do, and I found out that that was a thing. So I was like, okay, let me just explore that kind of side of VRChat, see how it goes. And it was very cringy and very chaotic and very uncomfortable to be in. Like especially on my end, it was very uncomfortable. A lot of shit got twisted. I will say a lot of drama does happen between it. And it's just not that great to go into. So I kind of regretted my decision and popped right out of it and was like, nope. So I ended it there and told the people I couldn't do it anymore, and they said that was okay, and we moved on.
So, like, how does the dynamic of a VR chat family work? Like, I guess compared, I guess to like an IRL family. Like, what's the dynamic there?
I mean, really nothing. I mean, like, it's just basically friends bullshitting with each other. Unless you feel like some type of connection with that person. Like, if you actually feel like that person, let's say, for example, is your brother, and you treat them like that, then I guess you could put it that way. But, like, you know, they're not your brother. But if that's what you want to feel like, then, and even outside of the game, if you feel like that outside of the game, then, you know.
Well, like I said, the whole thing of like people finding, I guess you could say, family on here through the internet. I wouldn't say that is a particularly bad thing, but I would say that is definitely more of an unstable thing to happen because of mental illness on here, and because people who are on here are generally they're unprepared for proper relationships, because a lot of them are between the ages of 18 to like 22, which I understand that I have Tourette syndrome. Hard time talking. I am between those ages because I'm 20, but I am very minorly mentally ill, so I don't have like a very big influence on it whenever it comes to that. But a lot of the people on here are severely ill, and they're able to get help for it. And I feel like it wouldn't be a good idea because of that.
They're not people I know, so like I didn't really again. I didn't really think like I think that people who have VR chat families are kind of nuts, you know? So I'm not really sure what the appeal in it is, and how exactly, like, I just know it's like how it would like be the same, you know?
I mean, but you found yourself in one, right?
Only because had to. They were mainly just friends. It was just considered a VR chat family. It was just close friends. Like they weren't even really my friends. I ended up I kind of hate them now, you know?
Well, so and you don't have to answer this question if you don't want to, but I'm interested in like your perspective on it. Like, so if these people are people that you didn't know well and you didn't trust, why would you consider them to be? Why would you give them?
Why? They were my friends at first,
Yeah, but like, why in your mind would you
but
give them the rank of like being like a family member, right?
I really didn't. It wasn't my idea. That's why I didn't really I didn't really want to be our chat family, but like
So like
still.
someone else like basically was like, "Hey, you should just do this," and then you were like, "Okay, whatever," and you kind of rolled with it or
I know
whatever.
because I was dating him at the time. That's why I did it.
No, okay, all right. Well, I mean, I guess that's fair enough, you know. I mean,
I'm not gay anymore, by the way.
I mean, I don't
I
think.
don't date dudes anymore.
Yeah, I don't. You know what? I don't give a shit who you date, man. Like, if you want to date dudes, you want to date women.
No, just because of that. Because a lot of his friends were like degenerates. The more I would try to show them the way of life, the more I just became like them. Nothing ever I did helped.
I mean,
I couldn't show them.
I don't really want to offer my advice in any way, but I don't think that it
It's
was
okay.
because it was a homosexual relationship. I think it was probably because you created a relationship in VR chat. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, like the thing is, there's a lot of people in here who I think are they don't have the intentions of like sincerity. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I mean, like I have a lot of family members who are gay and have very healthy and successful relationships, but maybe like there's nothing wrong with being gay, dude. If you want to go, but maybe you need to find those kinds of relationships in
Uh,
more healthy places, right?
nothing wrong, eh?
We're all human beings, dude. We all like to get
Uh,
our rocks off type shit. So you know what I mean? Like
yeah, I guess that makes sense.
whatever tickles your
Okay,
pickle.
maybe I don't want to admit it. Okay, I don't want to admit it.
That's fine. I'm not.
Maybe I still do have a gay side to me.
I mean, whatever makes you
That's why I
happy. You
don't
know what I
really
mean?
want to admit it.
Ultimately, you're a human being, and you're gonna die at some point. So just enjoy what you enjoy while you're here, right?
So a VR family is more of like a obviously it's a more of an online thing, and some people take it very serious. And I'm pretty sure you've seen plenty of videos out there where people are like, "Don't talk to my son," and whatnot. But you know, I don't know really how to explain it because I've stopped playing this game. The only time I get on this game is to watch movies and check up on certain friends. So I'm not really all up to date with VR families and that stuff.
So I'm not speaking for myself in this case. I'll speak to observations that I've made of other people. Is that it can be very fluid. Like maybe you want that family dynamic to change. Let's say like you're in a VR chat family, your brother and sister, but like on a personal level, maybe you become romantically evolved, and then you change the family dynamic to suit that relationship change. So maybe they someone isn't a part of the family anymore. Uh, they have VR chat children. It can change into this whole thing. I personally have opted out of never having VR chat children, even though people have tried to be my child. I rather treat them as friends and keep that dynamic very clear. It's also a part of how I chose to play the character in the very beginning, and I don't see any reason to change it. For some of the children who end up in these situations, they're looking for something that they're not getting from their family, like emotionally,
Like Roxas.
or like like the way you support people, like they're being supported by their family. Like I had a, compared to some people, I had a fairly decent upbringing. So like I'm not keen on like somebody pretending to be my mom and dad and playing this entire dynamic very seriously from an emotional standpoint. For me, it's a character trait, and we're playing characters and we're doing it for fun when our favorite streamer, who in this case is Himu Habis, is creating content. And we're trying to create a fun scenario and fun situations.
Well, for starters, I mean, they actually they seem like they cared more because they'll listen, like they'll sit there and listen and give me solutions and like actual real world solutions I want to hear instead of protection from family because family are biased and they're like for example. Saying something. It's like, for example, how I've said I want to be a police officer here when I turn 21. You got family over here, like biological, well, not biological family, foster family, as I actually my real family has been for the past 10 years, saying that that I can't do it and all that other stuff. And you got people like Sierra over here, or even Porsche, people like that saying that it's like, hey, you can do this. You just got to keep working at it. So it's more feeling of confidence, I would say. Of that reassurance, because it's like when you have the outside world and people, because like you also know you're human. You're the outside world, always criticizing about some bullshit that's going on. If you're doing something wrong, stuff like that. I guess it's more of those things of like I would rather I would rather hear the people. I'd rather hear the people that I generally talk to and care about be like, "Hey, you can do this," and people that like I say like like my family that I say I love and sit there and not get criticized and like, "Hey, that you have a chance of doing something great with your life." If that makes any sense.
VRChat family, you already have something that you agree on, that you immediately understand about each other. You all came to this game. You all understand each other because of this game. Now, if I were to try to have this conversation with my parents, my dad would look at me like I'm a disappointment for not going out there and making money like he did when he was a kid, and my mom would just be kind of supportive. It's not the same dynamic because when you meet friends in VR, these friends have similar interests with you right off the bat. And when a VR family is created, everybody understands that they have interests that they all understand, rather than having that communication wall between like you and your parents. Like a lot of people in here have parental problems. Me, I don't talk to my dad about shit because he was an abusive drunk when I was a kid. Now, a lot of other people, it's because they're trans or whatever, and then their parents don't support it, but people here do. It's that communication boundary that doesn't exist that helps them get along. It helps strengthen the bond. I guess that's the fundamental difference between a VR family and a real family. Real family, you didn't have a choice. VR family, you have a choice.
But what about like specifically VR chat like breaks down that communication barrier? You reckon?
Well, immediately having the understanding that this is a different world, it's not real. And some people see it as real, and those are the people who are chronically online. But the people who see a VR chat family as something they can look forward to when they get home from work or get home from school, it's something that they can just decompress from or like de-stress from. That we all understand that this game is what we come onto every day. We come onto this game because it helps us process different emotions. At least for me, it does. And
Got kicked. Oh, fuck you. All right, so yeah, I guess I think where we were was I was asking you about the different dynamics between a VR chat family and like a IRL family. Like how does that work?
well, it all depends on your perspective. The difference is like it's a choice, right? You make the choice to have a VR family. Your real family, you don't have the choice. They're blood. You're stuck with them. You have to deal with them. Online, when you have like a virtual family, you have the difference could be between a block and unblock button. Yeah, it could start drama, but that's if the people are petty enough to start drama. That's their choice. I think the security of having a family that you built, that you chose, over the family that you have is the difference.
Well, VRChat families majority go from like friends to people just taking like a mother figure or father figure kind of stuff and just picking who would become that person. Unlike with an actual family, you would have like, okay, this person is actually your mother or will be your mother, and it actually has general roles instead of people just taking a role and saying, "Oh, I'm gonna be this" or "I'm gonna be that." Another thing that could probably go between them is like actual communication and not actually having like so much drama between it all to just connect a lot of people. Because I will say a lot of families don't really have communication. I will say that, which kind of sucks with the real life. But a big thing with family is communication and actual like general love for each other. But in video games, that does not really happen. And usually, with the love part in that kind of scenario is relationships. A lot of people who start VRChat families usually tend to like a person in their VRChat family and then end up wanting to date them, which causes a lot of weird shit to happen, and it's not very great to watch happen.
So the first time that I ever heard of VR families was from a Celestios video. Do you know?
Okay.
Do you know who that guy is?
I don't believe I do. I don't recognize the name.
Okay, so he is a VR chat predator hunter. And so that was
that's why.
the first exposure that I had to what a VR chat family was this girl who was like had this VR chat family, and she was using it as a reason to like exploit minors and create inappropriate relationships with them. And so, like, do you think that it's a problem, like the power dynamic between like a VR chat like parent to a VR chat child?
It can be in the situation where the parents are intentionally setting up the situation to have predatory behavior. It all depends on the mentality. Like, I think in the early days of VRChat, I was an outsider for a long time. I started watching like VRChat clips back in like 2017 before I started playing in 2020. And prior to me, when I was still on the outside, I watched a lot of these clips. And in the very early days of VRChat popping off, it was mostly about content creators coming in and interacting with each other and creating these fun scenarios. And these family dynamics popped up as a fun way to sort of role play. But I think as time has gone on, and the fact that VRChat's active population is far more massive than it was even 4 years ago. You know, there's people that have less than genuine intentions in setting up these scenarios, and they hang out in certain places that make you question what they're doing, what their goals are, and it's very easy for them to stay self-contained by not making like other adult friends and spending time with them, so they can execute those goals. They can live in a self-contained bubble. They can pull, minors into these situations where they're self-contained, especially if they're a new player. They haven't had a chance to have this entire support structure or to gain the knowledge needed to avoid these kinds of behaviors. And even from myself as a child, I think it's normal, as you're maturing, to be interested in sexual things. And there are predatory adults that take advantage of that interest. And for me, I'm going to be vigilant. Like, if I see activity happening that I don't like, I have OBS ready to go on a split-second notice. I click the button, and I can just be recording this game almost instantly if I need to. Like if I'm observing behavior that I think is inappropriate or especially exploitative, I'm going to record that evidence, and then I'm going to submit it in a VRChat report. And I think just in general, whether it's predatory behavior like that or even just being a good adult, you have to look out for shitty behavior in general, whether it's people coming in and being racist or if you notice predatory behavior by people like with grooming and stuff. Like, you just need to be vigilant, and if you can record the evidence and submit that to the people that gets that person off the platform, that's good. There's unfortunately a lot of bypasses, like with VPNs and stuff. They can just create a new account and try again. And I wish that, and they can modify their client, change their hardware IDs. There's a bunch of stuff they can do to try and avoid like an outright block
You're in the
ban.
black hat.
But I think it's just important, especially as just a normal, I consider myself a relatively normal VRChat user. Just remain vigilant. If you see bullshit going on, don't be quiet about it. Some people are like, it's none of my business. They don't put the effort into making VRChat a better place. And those that like that makes them part of the problem and not part of the solution.
I mean, if someone's being
And-
inappropriate with a child, it's kind of all of our business, isn't it?
Exactly.
So on that, I would probably say it is a very easy thing for people to do, especially with pedophiles out there and stuff. It is a very easy target to make. It's also really easy to manipulate children, especially on a video game. So that's why you really got to be careful of who you talk to. Even if you are over 18 or not, you can still get very manipulative. You can also get manipulated really quick. But I will say it could be a very easy thing for those kind of people to do, to get children as a target. And I've had witnessed it before, and it is disgusting. But I am glad there are people out there like making a awareness to people who are doing that, because then that helps people who play this game become more safer of their surroundings with people.
Yeah. I would say that okay, there are a ton of predators on here because they know that this is an easy place to be able to find children who are mentally ill and want companionship or maybe a parental figure, and they come on here for that. And I would say that these VRChat families who have those issues. Yeah, pardon. What?
Can I stay here now? I don't
like
the crazy.
I'd prefer for him to. I'd prefer if he would answer the question and you be quiet for the moment. But you're welcome to come stand next to us.
I can be quiet.
Anyways, please please continue.
Okay. The families who have these issues, I would say that they're about 50-50 when it comes to regular families and the predator families. And honestly, there's not a lot that we can do to prevent that from happening unless we're able to maybe dox these people or get their accounts banned, which does happen a lot. But ultimately, there's so many of them, and there's just not enough hunters out there to be able to take out all of them. It takes pretty much a very elite force of like, I would say, almost a military-like presence to be able to take out all of them. Because it's basically like almost, I call it like a counter-terror operation almost. It's absolutely crazy how it works.
Man, 50-50 is a pretty rough like percentage of likelihood.
Yeah. That is a guesstimation on my part.
I'm not expecting you to give me like this is exactly what the percentage is, but like under the assumption that it's probably somewhere like it could be, it could not, like it's like half and half. That's pretty fucking rough, isn't it?
Okay. So I feel like well, it's not really like I feel like I mean I know this for a fact. Me personally, I've been dragged into a VRChat family before. Not really by will, but I mean I guess a little bit. Around I'd say maybe a year and a half ago, I got into a relationship with a girl over VRChat. No, more like 2 years ago, I got into a relationship with a girl over VRChat, and she was a part of a VRChat family, but it wasn't necessarily the negative, toxic kind. It was more of just like she had a few friends, and some of them called her mom, I guess. But I understand the aspect of like where all the problems come from, if that makes sense. It's like I see that a lot of the kids can get pulled into VRChat families, honestly, without them even knowing it. And a lot of the times it's sort of used as an excuse for them to be like preyed upon, like older people, older men, older women, whatever. They can sort of get away with saying, "Oh, of course I'm going to be around this person 24/7. They're my kid, whatever. Of course I'm going to say this to them. Of course I'm going to do this to them. They're my kid in VR chat." And it's like it's sort of used as leverage. And I'm not going to say in all cases because it's not in all cases, but in a lot of cases, it's used just as leverage around the VRChat community for people to act in ways that they shouldn't act towards younger people. Pretty much they can act in those ways towards the younger people because it's seen as okay because they're VRChat kid. I mean, I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah, the phrase that I was
just
using was it's a power dynamic, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I mean, that sums it up. Is a lot of the times it can just be used as a sort of leverage point to be able to talk to minors, and it's like it's really disgusting to look at it that way. But also at the same time, that's what like I'd say probably like a solid 75% of it is just I mean a lot of nasty things and like there is, the few that is, I'm not going to say normal, but is not necessarily illegal, where it's just a group of friends that are maybe a little bit different and they just want to have a VR chat family or whatever because they're on this game a lot. Okay, I can understand that part, but it's a lot of the times what'll happen is some guy will look at that. A lot of the times, some guy will get in power. Some guy will meet a girl that has a lot of, younger friends or something like that, and they'll use it as a point to say like, "Oh, and it's like, it's like our son or whatever." And they can start talking to that little kid a lot more, and it's seen as more acceptable because it's their VR chat kid. But to sum it up, VR chat families are usually just used as leverage to talk to minors.
Not I've seen, but I've heard about it firsthand with one of the people in our group. He got banned, and then he got unbanned, and then rejoined the staff team that we have. If you look up on top of my head, my banner is Heavenly Paradise staff. It turns out that he was what was it? He was hitting on his daughter. He's 19. I don't remember how old she is. But the fact that he was hitting on a VR chat daughter of all things, that shit was kind of weird altogether. On top of that, he already had allegations against him that he was a pedophile. So
that's a big problem in VR chat. A big
It
problem.
is. So,
a very big problem.
Snakehead, if I may real quick, I used to work for multiple VR chat predator hunters, and bro, I'm not gonna lie, that is a very big problem within our community.
Yeah.
These weird ass pets sitting here making VR chat families because they're trying to sit here and groom children secretly. You're fucking sick,
Yeah.
and I want you to know that. Even if you are recording right now, I want you to know you're sick, and I want you to fucking die a horrible death. And I hope you get hit by a semi truck while walking down the street.
I couldn't agree more with him.
Fuck you. Anyway, continue.
This game is 13 plus, unless if they changed after recent updates. I'm not too sure.
No, it's still 13 plus.
There's gonna be kids on here. Okay, then yeah, there's gonna be kids on this game, and there's some really fucked up people in this game. Like I've ran into a few in my time playing this game. I've been playing since 2017, and I've seen some shit. I've also was a part of a community known as God Gang that would go after these people.
Very much so, because I mean, I can say, for example, like even being in a VR family, and I'm pretty sure even in Heavenly Paradise in general, like we've caught a couple people who's done that. I'm not gonna give names out because I don't see why I should, but definitely, yeah, 100%. because we have been, as like I've experienced people do that to other people in general, yeah, and it's not right at all. Of course, I don't believe in the whole. I believe that, of course, pedos and stuff is horrible in general because they are, but yeah, I believe that the power dynamic is used manipulation very well a lot of things because for example it's like even me and Siri, even though I call him my mommy or dad and stuff, it's like there are people that have used power dynamic for stuff like that in general.
So this isn't really a prepared question, so I'm not like entirely sure how to phrase it properly. So like, give me a moment. But I guess like why do you think it's so prevalent that like in an environment like this that people are exploitative or manipulative to those around them?
I don't know why they would. Um, I I don't really know how to answer that question. I just generally think with people who try to do that are very good at manipulating kids. I mean, I'm not saying all VRChat families are like that. I'm just saying for certain ones that I've seen and witnessed happen can very much become very manipulative, especially with like the fake parent figures that are usually in them. Because majority of the time those parents are usually very much older than what they have for children. And I can get if they're an actual family and then they were like, oh, let's just say that we are a VRChat family. Because I witnessed people say that, where they were an actual family out of VRChat and they all went into this game and they got a lot of hate for it. But then there's also people who fake it and it just isn't a very good thing to spread around VR.